Hey, what's up guys, I'm Banana, and in this video I'm going to be going over a pretty darn interesting Strand Warlock loadout that I'm using. Not only is this fun for general play, but it seems like it has some pretty hard DPS potential, because in my testings this thing was absolutely nuking some bosses. So if you enjoy this video, I'd really appreciate a like or a subscription, because I'm new to the Destiny content space and I'm trying to grow a community here by making some epic tutorials for Lightfall. So definitely let me know if you like this by subscribing below. Alright, so first let's look into my subclass when we're looking at my damage. First of all, we're not using grapple. I know this might be a deal breaker to some people, but threadling grenades are definitely the play on Warlock because you are the threadling master. If you're trying to get a bunch of threadlings out there, this is going to be it, because combining it with this aspect means that you're going to be able to eat your grenade and get 5 threadlings on you, and if you pop your rift, you're spawning in 8 threadlings that immediately are going after enemies. So having a threadling grenade is going to be way more useful than Spider-Man swinging your way into death. So we're using this grenade. Get over it. Aspect-wise, we have the new Thread of Generation. Dealing damage generates grenade energy. This is similar to Starfire Protocol, but it seems like it's actually based on the amount of damage you're dealing. If you're dealing an insane burst of damage, you get an insane burst of grenade, but generally it's going to feel like you're generating less grenades than Starfire Protocol, but it doesn't really matter because the DPS is still really good. We're running Thread of Evolution because your threadlings are going to deal more damage. Do I need to explain why that's good? Threadling Grenade, Needle Storm, both of these spawn a bunch of threadlings, so having those things get buffed is just a buff to your DPS. The Thread of Warding, this is not useful for the DPS, this is just because Thread of Warding is very good. Picking up an Orb of Power grants Woven Mail. You know, Woven Mail is a huge damage mitigation that you get, and you are going to just survive more whenever you're using it, so it makes sense to use it. And the last one, and probably most important fragment, is Thread of Ascent. Activating your grenade ability reloads your equipped weapon and gives you bonus handling and another stat that we don't even need to talk about. This is just Demolitionist, but a fragment, and that makes it very good because you do not have to waste the perk slot on Demolitionist on your weapon. So let's go to weapons right now. I'm using Izanagi's Burden. I know, classic DPS weapon. It's very good this season. It got a bit of a buff with the kinetic stuff getting buffed, and also just everything else that was decent, like linears, did get nerfed, which made Izanagi swapping the de facto best damage method that a lot of people can come up with. We are also going to be using a Bump in the Night. You do usually use a Demolitionist Bump in the Night whenever you're using a grenade-focused DPS build, but we're actually going to be using Auto-Loading Holster, because the rotation that we're doing here is actually different than most damage rotations in the game. The normal Izanagi's damage rotation would go something like Rocket, Izanagi, reload, and then you do another rocket. You can just infinitely do this, and it is a standard DPS loadout that any class can run. However, this build has the capability of doing a little bit of a special loadout. It is not just an auto-loading swap loadout, it includes Demolitionist in it. So you could do Izanagi, reload, rocket, nade, rocket, Izanagi. And then you just keep doing this until you get another grenade, and whenever you do get that other grenade, you go rocket, nade, rocket. If you use your super, you're basically going to get your full grenade back. It is going to absolutely juice the numbers up. I'm going to show a clip right now of me running this rotation semi-successfully on the Grasp of Avarice Ogre. I do screw up a couple times. I think there are 2 parts where I don't shoot my Izanagi when I should have, but otherwise this is a pretty darn good DPS phase, and you're going to see that my damage numbers definitely live up to the hype here. I did 2 million damage to this ogre in the very short time. I had someone next to me who popped well, and they had Gallarhorn. That was what was going on, and that is pretty standard for a raid situation. So 2 million damage, that's not bad for this part. Using a loadout that is on the new subclass and is not Well of Radiance for Warlock and dealing damage, it's a bonus here. It's pretty fun, and it is going to be great for general content as well, because now we're going to look at the armor mods. Right now, I'm running Nezarec Sin. Nezarec Sin, you would think it's only good for Void, but that's just what the unintelligible people say, because it's going to give you ability regen whenever you get any kind of Void kill. Obviously, it's best on Voidwalker because you have Void abilities to use, but if you just use something like Funnel Web, that means you're going to be getting your grenade, your rift, and your melee back a bunch faster because of Nezarec Sin. You then combine this with a lot of other ability cooldown stuff. You run Void Siphon and Finders and stuff just because you're trying to be helpful to the team, but then you can run Grenade Kickstart because every armor charge you have is going to give you a bit of your grenade back. You can run Firepower because this is going to make your grenades make orbs. So when you're doing general content, you're throwing grenades at guys, you're making orbs, those orbs are helping you get more grenades. I am running double reserves right now and in the clip that you saw, but if you don't want to run double reserves, you are definitely able to run other stuff in here. You can run charged up to get a little bit more armor charge stacks, or you can just run double reserves because double reserves, when it's not bugged, is very, very good, and having more ammo is always awesome. On my legs, there is a bunch of options here. Again, if you don't want to run the surges as hard as possible, you don't have to run triple surge. You don't even have to run double surge. The good mods that aren't the surges are definitely Innervation, because this is once again going with your grenade orb regen cooldown. Running as many Innervations as possible is completely viable. It's nice, but you can also run stacks on stacks because this is going to make it so you need less orbs overall. Generally, what I think I've been doing is running, I would not be running any mod here, and I would run a stacks on stacks, a surge, and then an Innervation, and that is a great loadout. But seriously, any combination of Innervation, surge, and stacks on stacks is great. The Bond, I'm currently running triple bomber. This is another thing that can change. I think if you are running any surge mods, you should probably change out one of these for a time dilation and call it there. But bomber's going to be good because whenever you have no grenade cooldown, you can just pop your class ability, and you can see I'm at like half of my grenade back already, and I literally just threw it. And that's without picking up orbs, without having the kills that are going on Nezarec Sin. So overall, bomber is just super nice, and if you want to just chuck it on there, you can. If you want time dilation, you can. This build is pretty open on what you can be using, and it is just something that is going to be super awesome in general. So yeah, I'm not 100% sure at the viability of this in raids, but I do think it is a super interesting loadout, and the best thing is you're not a Starfire Warlock. So while my character may be touching grass, I will not be touching grass. I will be using Strand. I will be grinding. You can see I'm 1804 right now. I'm kind of balling, but let me know what you guys think about this loadout down below. It's definitely a super interesting one that I'm going to be looking into more and more, because anything that gets me off of Well is a fun thing for my Warlock. So that's it for the video. Hope you enjoyed, and I'll talk to you in the next one. Peace out.